I don't know what it is, but when I would talk something about meditation, immediately my mind reminds me of my first ever meditation. It was on the roof of Osho's ashram. I was about 30 years old, and I thought I was just wasting a whole hour. They told me, oh, you have to close your eyes, just sit there, you don't have to do anything. And I was thinking, well, I could be doing so many useful things in this hour. Why am I sitting here like this? It's really stupid. That was my first meditation. Of course, I was a rather minded guy in those days. And now, many, many years later, I never formally meditate, but I would say that most of my daily life is happening in a kind of meditation. Somehow the meaning of it changes from a kind of procedure, a kind of practice, and it becomes gradually into my daily life, our daily life, until we don't have such a division between a practice and actually how we're living our life. And in that transition, in a way, from it being a practice to being, part of our life, like breathing, like eating, like talking, somehow meditation brings us gradually deeper and deeper inside. I mean, I'm saying like deeper inside, but it may not be inside, it may be outside, and maybe we don't know where it is actually, because we don't know where we are, except we're somehow connected to the body. And as we come deeper and deeper, it feels that our whole kind of connection to what we call the world around us changes. It's not that we really decide to change it. It just seems to change by itself. And in my own case, I could say that when I was 30 years old, until I was 30 or 40 years old, I guess, I was pretty mindy and always thinking about stuff, always having problems to solving problems. And I would say from around the age of 40 until now, so this is almost another 40 years, I would say that there's no problem anymore. I never have a problem in my life. Since already many years, I never had a problem. I remember one of the first workshops that I did in Osho's ashram, it was set up in a way that it confronted you with your idea that there are problems. No problems. Life is not a problem. Life is a kind of adventure to live. And as you can live this adventure from moment to moment in presence, then, it's just wonderful. It's an incredibly wonderful thing, being alive, and we can celebrate every moment of our life, because every moment of our life is so incredibly rewarding and fulfilling. And so things like problems simply don't exist. Of course, there are things that happen in your life which don't seem to be exactly what you would be wanting to happen. So, of course, that happens also in my life. We have quite strong things that happen. We have a court case going on, starting probably in the next week or two, where the owner of this house wants to get us out. The house was sold. We were living here for, I don't know how many years, 15 years or 14 years, with a very, very nice landlord who allowed us to renovate half of this big mansion. Like this room, we renovated this. We created this into a nice space. And unfortunately he sold it, and the new owners can only think of getting us out. So we're now facing a court case. So of course that's not particularly what I would choose in my life, but then it becomes a kind of adventure. We found a good lawyer, and then we meet with the lawyer, we showed him our house, talked about our community. He's a good guy and he can probably do as well as any other lawyer, and there'll be a court case and blah blah, and there'll be a decision and blah blah. And it'll go on, life goes on, and it's not really a problem. So if you allow your life to fall into problems, you're really missing the juice, you're missing your life actually. I think the other thing that meditation has brought me is that it brings me almost daily deeper into the mystery of what life is. You know, what the fuck is going on here? Do we know? Does anybody know? I don't think so. Nobody knows. And yet we all walk around as if we all understand everything. So there's this enormous mystery. And I would say that as I've come deeper inside, I become somehow more caught up in the mystery, or I don't know how to describe it, more enjoying the mystery. And amazing miracles happen. Just last week I was down in Spain at our Spanish house, and we have a massage business there, and we decided we would expand a bit to a new city. We went to see it. I went with the massage girls to see this place, and then we came back and there was a yoga seminar going on in the house, and they had a cook. They'd employed their own cook, and then one of the girls came to me and said, you know, this cook, she comes from that town where we want to go. She comes from that town, and she has a guest house, and probably we can rent a room in her guest house for our massage business. You see, almost like a miracle that you suddenly discover that it seems the whole thing is working exactly to give you what you want or what you need. Not always what you want, but what is the right thing for you. And when we start resisting that, well, that's not so great. I laugh to myself today because we're about to publish a very beautiful book on Ramana Maharshi's teachings. Maybe some of you have heard about it. Aham Sparana, which basically means a pulsation, a kind of vibration. And those of you who've come deep enough inside you, you probably had an experience of this pulsation. And this is maybe the most wonderful thing that can happen to you in your whole life, this pulsation. And there's a manuscript that has showed up after 85 years. And I personally was very touched from this manuscript. And I'm now, since 6 months, we're selecting what we decide are the more interesting dialogues from this huge manuscript. It's a 2,000-page manuscript, and we're about to publish a 300-page selection. And so we're choosing some photo pages. I was very amused today because the guy who's choosing them, he got one of Ramana Maharshi sitting like this, right? And I don't know whether you know this, but this means total resistance. And I thought, wow, that's great. Even he can be totally resistant sometimes. So of course, maybe he didn't have a good lunch that day, or maybe he got out of bed the wrong side, or who knows. But I mean, probably Ramana Maharshi also is a human being. He also had shit happening in his life. Well, I know he had shit happening in his life. So I mean, it's like, come on, nobody's going to be perfect, you see. And the horrible truth which you can enjoy this weekend, right, is that you are actually perfect. Can you imagine that somebody like you could be perfect? You're exactly the way you're meant to be. Can you imagine that? With all your inner mindy kind of decisions about yourself, that you're not good enough, and you could be more like this, and you could be more like that, and you wish you could play music, and all these many judgments we keep going on about ourselves, yeah? And the truth is, you're exactly as you're meant to be, you're exactly where you're meant to be, and you're absolutely as you're meant to be. You see. And when you can just accept that, life just becomes a benediction. Everything is beautiful. And it's very simple. If you go in a spiritual bookshop, you see thousands of books, and you think, oh God, wow, can I get through all this in one lifetime? It looks very complicated. But it's not complicated, it's very easy. Because what you're really looking for, this presence, that's your natural state. You don't have to do anything for that. It's given. I used to say it's like the ketchup from McDonald's, but now they charge for it, But it's just given, it's just given. Your natural state's given. And what you have to come to realize is that you fuck it up. You fuck it up. God did a great job, but you then fuck it up constantly. And so this weekend is actually very simple. You sit there and you, with any luck, will come into a wonderful space, and then you'll get a thought about auntie, somebody spoiling your holiday maybe, or something, and then you get a bit negative about it, and then before you know what's happened, you're completely lost in your thoughts. And then the presence disappears. So a lot of this weekend is about to not get caught up in, especially not the common thought patterns. In India they have the word Vasana. It means like tendencies of the mind. And every human being has certain patterns which tend to keep repeating. The most popular one being, I'm not good enough. Everybody who sits here tonight is probably every 25 minutes having this thought, I'm not good enough, you see. So is it really possible that every human being on this planet could be not good enough? I mean, it doesn't make sense really, does it? So I'm sure that's not true. So we're not only not good enough, but we're exactly as we're meant to be. You just have to take it, You just have to take the way you are. Very easy. And one of the things that's very beautiful about this weekend, I would say, is that we're completely serving you. You're going to be actually in this room, and there'll be a lovely energy here. The person next door to you might snore very loudly, and you might not like that, but you have to deal with it. You have to deal with everything that happens around you, but actually you're constantly completely served. It's like, oh, I finally can relax. Oh, and they bring me food. They take me to the toilet. They bring me water. I don't have to do anything. I can just completely be here. Have you ever had that situation in your life where you're absolutely just here for 2 days? It's so beautiful. You see, it's amazingly beautiful. And this, in a way, is a taste of how your life is meant to be. We call it Vipassana because you wouldn't come if I didn't call it something like that. But actually, it's not really, it's like, it's just sitting on a mattress for 2 days, I couldn't, if I wrote that, come and sit on a mattress, nobody would be here, you see. We call it Vipassana, and you think, oh yeah, I've heard of that, I better go and do that, But it's so beautiful because you're completely taken care of, you see. And maybe in your whole life, except when you were a little kiddie, you've never had that experience of being completely serviced. You put your hand up and you get what you're asking for. But you won't ask for very much, you see, because one of the very interesting discoveries we make when we meditate is that when we come deep enough inside, that we come to who we really are, you suddenly don't want anything. It's amazing to discover that. Normally in our everyday life, we're always looking for the next thing that will make us feel better, I buy some chocolate, start off with chocolate, and then, maybe an ice cream, it's a bit hot today, I'll get an ice cream. And we go on and on looking for things that can make us feel good. But when you're sitting for 2 days, you come to realize that you're already good. Wow! Isn't that incredible? That I was already good. And now I don't need ice cream, I don't need chocolate. And we'll bring you a little bowl of a few vegetables, and you'll think you're eating a gourmet meal or something. Just eating a carrot will suddenly feel like, wow, that was really good, you see. Unfortunately, human beings are completely lost. Sorry, I'm not saying you're lost, but in general, we're incredibly lost. We're creating a nightmare. I mean, we're not creating a nightmare, but the society on the whole planet is creating a nightmare. Such a big nightmare that now they have to have big conferences to discuss how to save the planet. I mean, pretty crazy, isn't it, that we're destroying our own planet? So human beings are very, very lost, and as you live in society, you have to have a very clear awareness about what's going on around you. Otherwise, you can easily get sucked into doing absolutely silly things for yourself. Anyway, I've talked a bit too much. Anybody like to come and have a chat? Come on, it's very nice. Come and have a chat. Anything you like, any question you like. Okay.
Kannst du übersetzen?
Just click that.
Ja.
What were you asking? You've been here 2 months?
I think, yeah, maybe.
About 2 months. So Philip turned up here 2 months ago, and he had a lot of plans. You know, he was going to be a famous musician. He's actually a brilliant musician. Maybe he'll play for you over the weekend, or you'll hear him playing downstairs on the piano. He's a wonderful musician, but he had great plans. You know, he was going to Berlin, and I don't know what he was going to do there, but anyway. And unfortunately, when he fell into this community, you couldn't really leave. Yeah, you couldn't leave. Did you leave? You left once, maybe. Huh?
Yeah, because I had corona.
Oh, you had corona. You had to leave.
I just stay here, but the words say go away and then come.
Philipp ist vor 2 Monaten gekommen und hatte ganz große Pläne, nach Berlin zu gehen und Pianist zu werden, weil er sehr gut Klavier spielt. Aber irgendwie konnte er nicht wieder weggehen von hier. So ist er immer noch hier.
So why do you think you've stayed so long?
Warum bist du so lange geblieben?
Ja, ich finde, es ist einfach hier sehr großartig. Es kommt immer eine große Dankbarkeit, ein großer Schmerz durch. Nur ich merke, dass ich die Zeit, wo ich jetzt hier bin, auch wenn es jetzt noch nicht so lang ist, mir sehr gut tut und mir auch ein bisschen noch den Halt gibt, den ich oft im...
Okay, that sounds very positive, but as I don't speak German.
So I find it really great here. I mean, there's always coming a lot of pain and a lot of gratefulness. And I have the feeling it's very good for me here, and it gives me a stability in my daily life.
So you also experience pain here.
Yeah,
Erlebst auch Schmerzen.
but from the last Zoom meeting, you have told about pain and all the stuff, and in the Zoom meeting I'm going all the stations in the past, I feel in Zoom meeting the pain and go deeper and deeper, and I think it's good to at first to enjoy the pain, or to be thankful for the pain, to not...
Okay, let's translate into German.
Also beim letzten Zoom-Meeting haben wir über Schmerzen geredet und ich bin an diese ganzen Stationen zurückgegangen in meinem Leben. Und ja, ich glaube, dass es gut ist, diesen Schmerz zu genießen oder zu akzeptieren, erstmal anzunehmen.
I mean, the reality, you see, is that if we eat chocolate all the time, we never experience the pain. You know?
Also wenn wir die ganze Zeit Schokolade essen, dann erleben wir den Schmerz nicht.
So you can spend your whole life in desire and never really meet this deeper pain inside.
Du kannst dein ganzes Leben mit Wünschen verbringen und niemals diesen tiefen Schmerz, der aber da ist, in dir begegnen.
But it doesn't mean that whatever caused the pain is not working inside you.
Das bedeutet nicht, dass das, was den Schmerz verursacht hat, nicht in dir arbeitet.
I mean, one of the horrible things about being very old for me is that I often have to go and get a bit of repair on my body.
Also eine der schlimmen Sachen für mich ist, alt zu werden, dass ich damit beschäftigt bin, häufig meinen Körper reparieren lassen zu müssen.
And I look around the waiting room and I'm completely shocked, because I feel like a young 6-year-old, and these people around me, they all look like they're already left, there's not much of them left. They're just sitting there like bodies, And so pain is very, very good, because pain makes you realize that you've got some stuff inside you which you probably didn't have anything to do with putting in there, but it's in there and it's causing a lot of trouble to you. That's why all these old people are so dead.
Also wenn ich im Wartezimmer bin, dann bin ich immer ganz erstaunt, weil ich fühle mich innerlich wie so ein Sechsjähriger und um mich herum die Leute, die scheinen schon oft fast tot zu sein. Und Schmerz ist wirklich sehr gut, weil du hast den Schmerz nicht in dir reingebracht, aber dennoch ist er da.
So it's very beautiful when I hear you saying that you can accept the pain that you're experiencing.
Sehr schön, wenn du sagst, dass du den Schmerz akzeptieren kannst, der da ist.
Maybe you don't completely accept it, but the pain is indicating to you that there's something or other that was put inside you when you were maybe very small, which you don't really know about, which is causing you to have emotional pain.
Also vielleicht kannst du nicht immer alles akzeptieren, aber du wirst dir bewusst, dass da etwas in dir ist, seitdem du klein bist, was dir Schmerzen verursacht, was eine Wirkung auf dich hat.
So that's actually very helpful.
Sehr hilfreich.
So I was suggesting in a meeting we had the other night that pain is really something very beautiful, because it alerts you to something inside you which needs some work on it.
Und Schmerz ist deswegen sehr nützlich, weil er macht dich darauf aufmerksam, auf etwas in dir, mit dem du dann arbeiten kannst.
Good. Good to discover that. Yeah. Anything else you discovered?
Hast du was anderes entdeckt?
Yeah, that music is good. I like it, but at the days it is not so important for me. So at gift days I play music. At gift days I don't play music, but I am getting a deeply connection with mantra music. But
Also die Musik, das ist gut, aber es ist nicht so wichtig. Es gibt Tage, da mache ich Musik, es gibt Tage, da mache ich keine Musik und ich entwickle eine tiefe Verbindung zur Mantra-Musik.
Yeah, it was one of the things that surprised me when I was living in Osho's ashram years ago.
Also in Oshos Ashram vor vielen Jahren, da hat mich etwas sehr erstaunt.
Because many very creative people who were writing, people who were painting, people playing music, they came to Osho's ashram. He had a lot of creative people there.
Und da waren viele kreative Leute, manche waren Maler, manche Musiker.
And they nearly all stopped doing their thing.
Und die haben fast alle aufgehört, ihr Ding zu machen.
And what took them over, in a way, is what's Philip been taken over by, is this new adventure of coming to know yourself in a deeper and deeper way.
Und was stattdessen kam, war dieses neue Abenteuer, eben wie der Philipp das beschreibt, sich selber auf eine tiefe Art und Weise kennenzulernen.
And the amazing thing was that years later, I remember, for example, I think most of you know about Pramel and Miten, who sing mantras, yeah, and travel around the world singing mantras. I mean, Miten, when he came to Osho's ashram, was quite a famous, well, he wasn't so famous, but he was part of a famous rock and roll band. I've forgotten which one.
Ich kenne ja vielleicht lieber Pramel und Miten. Und der Miten, der war, bevor er in Oshos Ashram kam, Teil einer ziemlich berühmten Rockband.
You see, and then his music kind of stopped. He got involved in meditation. He probably did some therapy. He got involved in the daily life of the ashram.
Und dann hat er aufgehört mit der Musik, weil er involviert war in Meditation, in dem täglichen Leben des Ashrams, er hat Therapie gemacht.
And then sometime, I don't know the story really, but at some point he was reborn as a mantra musician.
Und dann an einem bestimmten Punkt hat er quasi wie so eine Wiedergeburt als Mantra-Musiker.
And now he travels the world, and his concerts are absolutely wonderful because he creates together with Premal, they create together this enormous energy of love and open-heartedness.
Und jetzt reisen sie durch die Welt und gemeinsam mit der Primal kreieren die eine unglaubliche Energie, eine Offenherzigkeit.
He's getting old. He might, he might take over later on.
Ziemlich alt, aber kannst du das übernehmen?
Yeah, I have read from the book from the European master, the interview. They were
Right.
and very interesting.
Yeah.
And, feel the energy from the both. And I've written a little bit with Deva Primal. Told her I'm very thankful for her music, and yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good to talk.
Thanks.
You can stay there because somebody else is coming. We don't know who yet, but it may be that lady in glasses who speaks only German. Oh, it's the dreaded Kamala. God. Put your microphone on so we don't miss your words of wisdom. So in the 5 years that Kamala's been living in this community, we've had many nice chats together. But probably this isn't going to be one of them. So don't get upset if it gets a bit unpleasant, because she's been living with me in this community for 6 years. So naturally I talk to her differently to how I might talk to any of you. So don't be scary if it gets a bit hot or not. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's obvious you don't know. You're completely lost, darling. So I'm a little bit interested in one question. So a little bird told me that you came to the Easter retreat 3 weeks ago, and at the end of the Easter retreat, it was 4 days or 5 days, you felt very, very good. That's what I was told. And for a week maybe, or 10 days, you felt very, very good. And then somehow it changed, and now you feel very, very bad. So do you know what was the catalyst that caused the change?
Well, what happened in the Easter retreat was I felt like I wasn't connected so much to the story of me, yeah? And it felt like everything that this person is doing is it's just on a different level. It doesn't influence this thing, yeah? And therefore there was a big allowing feeling, like it's all right, you know, it's all right. And
but do you really have to allow it? I mean, surely part of the personal not being so strong is you didn't even have to allow that. It was just happening by itself, wasn't it?
I mean, sure, this thing was happening from itself, but from there was something, like I could see that there's some part in the person which is so repressed repressed in my daily life. And
yeah, but that's because you have this enormous pattern of lying to yourself. You have this enormous, everybody knows, yeah, and we've all told you this many, many times, that you have this unfortunate compulsive behavior of always lying to yourself and lying therefore to everybody else. And this is not your fault. I mean, it happened in your family somehow for some reasons we don't need to know about really. But this is for you an enormous tendency of the mind which causes you enormous pain. Enormous pain, to the point now that you want to leave the community, because now when I show up in your life you just feel pain. But this is your pain, and so this pain would more sensibly be a determination to investigate it. Because you can leave now, and even if you travel around the world and stay on beautiful tropical beaches and have wonderful boyfriends and all that, wonderful food, inside you still it's working. Going and lying on a beach doesn't make it go away at all. It's in you, it's part of you, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know this.
So I don't understand why, when you've had this enormous pain recently, you don't have any motivation, like surprisingly Philip, only been here 3 weeks. He wants to look at his pain. Why you want to run away now and not look at your pain?
Well, because I can see that I did as good as I could over the last 5 years.
Yeah, but it wasn't good enough, was it?
Right.
Right, so now you have to try a bit harder, not leave.
Maybe try a different way then.
And that's going to be getting a job, doing something in Cologne, and living your life and having a few boyfriends. That will be another way that will lead you to that.
No, this is just, I mean, everything around it. Yeah, I mean, of course I have to get a job and get money to be able to do whatever. Yeah, of course I need to find another way. Yeah, another angle to come there.
Okay, so write and tell us what it is when you find it. Yeah. Because your ex-lover was on the meeting the other night. Yeah. Your ex-lover who left the community 3 years ago, telling us similar things. Yeah. Now he's telling us what? I'm an alcoholic. I go now to Alcoholic Anonymous every 2 or 3 times a week.
And he also says that now he's able to actually confront some things which he wasn't able to confront in this time here.
Ah, so you're going away to be able to get to the point of becoming alcoholic, and then you'll be able to confront the things. Oh, that's a great plan. Well, bravo. So now, you know, we all have a great plan.
If it helps, I mean.
Wonderful, yeah. Very clever, very clever. I always thought you were rather clever. There you are. Clever plan.
I mean, I even joined this crazy place to, if it helps, you know.
Well, of course it helps, darling, but it doesn't help if you don't do the work. You have an amazing knack of finding a diversion and not doing the work. You don't do the work, really.
Yeah, it's true.
So you think you're going to do it better living in Cologne? Of course you're not. If you can't do it here, where the whole focus is on that, how do you think you're going to do it downtown?
I don't know. I don't think. I think the only thing I think is I will have to try it out, because otherwise it's just mental in my head.
What is mental in your head?
Otherwise I think, maybe there is a chance, yeah, if you try it a different way, and if I try it a different way, and at a certain point I will come to the conclusion it doesn't work, or it does work. But like this, I always have this thing in my head, yeah, like maybe, and then I don't.
Okay, great, darling. Good plan. Bye-bye. Enjoy. Thank you. Nice talking to you. Probably our last talk. Can be nice too, come on. I mean, it's very hard for me as a teacher to see somebody completely self-destructing. It's very hard, you know. I feel enormously sad for these people. She's not the first one. We've more or less been about 18 or 20 people in the whole time of this community, and we discovered on our 10th anniversary, when we were doing a special celebration, we discovered that something like 120 people have lived here in that 10 years. So many people come and, like Kamala, go again. And of course there's an enormous pull into the society. You think, of course, on the other side of the wall it's going to be much better, the grass is greener, boyfriends come out of the bushes every 5 minutes, there's free ice cream, and you know. You come, yeah. She's just been around the world, so she'll tell us how wonderful it was for her. You see, she's got a shell around her neck, which she probably found on some.
No, that was a birthday present a long time ago from my mom.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yes.
I thought you plucked it off some pristine sandy beach.
Yeah, I came here to this community and I had huge resistance, and now I'm interested in that kind of thing, because we worked so much, and I was like, oh God, it's too much work. And then I saw my free time, and that was so valuable. I was more creative, and I was more aufmerksam. Was heißt? I tend to the interaction with the other people, and I had great eye contacts and coming together. So yeah.
So out of all that, what starts happening inside you? You've only been here 10 days, I think, yeah?
Yeah, what happened? I felt more and more the beauty of the life, and I feel inside of me so wonderful emotions. And for a long time I watched a movie and I was so attached by just a movie. It was ridiculous, because it was just on a screen and I was just crying, and I never had this huge emotions before when I just watched a movie. So I'm more into that life here on Earth.
What was this movie?
It called Spirit. It was a kids movie. So a girl came close to a horse.
To a horse?
A horse. So they came together, and I was
Every little girl has to come to a horse, yeah. I mean,
I'm not a horse girl.
Some of you might know this, but you know, I'm very, very old, but in some miraculous way I deserve to have two beautiful little girls in my life, my daughters actually. You'll maybe see them around this weekend. Well, you won't see them around. Well, they'll come and sit here probably, but you won't see them. But anyway, I thought, I must introduce them to horses. So there was just up the road, there's a big stables, and they were having like an open celebration day with many, many horses, beautiful horses, and riders jumping over the jumps, yeah. And I took them there, and they weren't that impressed actually. And then I suddenly realized, what am I doing? I could spend half my life now taking them to horse riding classes, you know? So I was very happy that they weren't really that interested. Anyway, little girls coming to horses. Yeah.
But in the one moment I was crying because the girl was standing there and she took all her time, and the wild horse was wild, and it just needs time to come down, to trust, and not be always work. I saw that the people here, they just take the time. They are working, but then when we meet, then they took their time. Okay, now I'm here. It's so important to spend the time now with you, and after that we go our own ways. I love this kind of thing.
I mean, I think, you know, the thing that's touching you to the point of tears, right, is to meet yourself, you know. So this old guy, he's a well-known Indian saint, and one of his core teaching was, be as you are. Be as you are. You see? And the moment you cried was a moment when you were being as you are. And when we be as we are, it feels just amazing. Amazing. And half of our life we spend trying to be like somebody else who we think is better or richer or more powerful or more beautiful or something. Yeah? And we hardly ever be as we are. This is one of the problems of our friend I wasn't very nice to. She's completely dishonest with herself, unfortunately, because in her family she was brought up like that. She had to be dishonest. And so she lost herself. She's completely lost herself. It's very, very sad.
I met her differently, but yeah.
Or you're different to
Yeah.
everybody, I mean.
Sure.
She was being as she likes to be with people like you.
Yeah.
If you get to know her more, you would discover that you can't meet her. It's impossible to meet her.
I had very... Okay, yeah, but it's okay. Yeah. And I also, with the pain thing, I wanted to say, when I felt pain, and I also will run away from pain and eat chocolate or something like that. I know this, but I saw this as a gift because I didn't learn how to deal with my emotions, and I think if I would not eat chocolate or do something else to get rid of the pain, I would be much more lost. So I think because of my way, how I took my way, yeah, I'm happy to be now here, and I can go further and further and further and develop. I like to develop, but I think I need also sometimes to run away from the pain, so because I cannot develop so fast, then it's for me too fast, and I don't know how to deal with that. I need help. I need people that they can hold me.
Well, most of what you've just said is rubbish, actually. I'm sorry. Sorry to say that, you know. What do I do, you know? It's true. I mean, from your idea of life, of course, everything you said is perfectly wonderful, yeah? But if you would understand yourself a bit deeper, and if you would really understand from some other vantage point about what really is going on here, yeah, you would discover that the biggest problem you have at the moment is you're completely identified with an idea of being a somebody. And this somebody has all kind of ideas, you see. When all that would go, right, you can't really imagine it probably, but if all that would go, then you're much more present. You're much more be as you are. Little kids don't have all that. They don't have it. It's amazing to watch with my two girls. Yeah, I've got two girls who are twins, but they're not, what do they call it, similar twins. They're separate twins. So they're completely different with each other. And to watch how 1 minute, you know, something can be going. For example, I picked them up today. They'd been on a 2-day sleepover on a farm with about 50 kids. Yeah. So the night before they were going, I put them into bed, and before they were asleep, one of them started crying and saying, "I don't want to go tomorrow, I don't want to go." You see? And then I just, didn't hear that and said, don't worry, you'll have a lovely time, you see. Then in the morning, and it's so beautiful with kids, right? The same kid in the morning jumping out of bed, getting her backpack on and having her breakfast, and we're leaving early and she's completely excited and blah, 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 you see. Completely changed because she's not a robot. You see, you're a robot. You're not a person, you're a robot. If you look at little kids, you can get a taste of the possibility of life that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Only with little kids. Grown ups, after they get to, 18, they're finished.
Yeah.
They're just robotic.
But this, I'm very angry about this, that we got robots.
Yes, good. Well, be hell of an angry. But you should be incredibly angry.
Yeah.
You see, because society is completely fucked up on you. You have to be really angry about it. So angry that you don't want to be a robot anymore. You have to decide, I don't want to be a robot anymore.
No.
Then you have to be who you are, and then you have to find out who you are. So finding out who you are is what it's all about, actually. And the meditation is the beginning of finding out who you are.
But is it better to be very angry or to forgive? So because
no, don't forgive. Be angry.
So many people say forgive your parents.
Oh, you can forget.
Forgive your mother,
forgive your. Sure, forgive your parents. They were. You can't really blame anybody. It's not really something to blame on your parent. It's something that you have to be angry with. The whole system of human life you have to be angry with.
Yeah.
And there's not a person to blame, I would say, and certainly not your parents. I'm sure they did the best they could, but maybe the best they could wasn't really that best, what to do. Now you can take it over, but you have to have a priority for that, and at the moment you don't have.
I really try to.
What?
I try.
Well, you're trying a bit, but you can try a bit more.
I don't know how to try a bit more.
Well, stay a bit longer here. We'll teach you. I mean, this community whole focus is teaching people like you how not to be robots. You came to the right place. So why do you think you came to the right place? I was talking about the mystery of life, if you like, yeah? So the mystery of life has brought you to a place, right, which could actually support you not being a robot anymore. Yeah. So you had this inner longing, you could say, maybe longing inside you after traveling around the world. You came back and then somehow you got a shock, perhaps.
Yeah.
And you thought, I don't really want this. And then inside something started to kind of call out, you can say call out, and you were directed to this community. So isn't this an incredible mystery that in fact the existence is constantly bringing us to where we need to go?
This is amazing.
You see?
And I got this shock. It was all my ego came back after traveling, and I saw the people, the German. Yeah. So I have to let go.
Yeah. Well, even being born in Germany may not be so bad because it
No.
makes you realize you don't want to be like that.
Yeah, this. Yeah.
I mean, just imagine if you were born on a desert island and everybody was living there, free and easy, and coconuts were falling, and I mean.
I felt not so rooted. I feel here that I can root myself so much more than on an island drinking coconuts.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to talk to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a bit more time. Do we have more time? Bit more time. Okay. Well, I'm not going to sign it right now, but I will sign it. But you have to come and talk to me if you wanted me to sign your book. You can give me the book and I'll give it back to you. I don't even know you. I can't really. I have to know you a bit before I sign it. This is what does it mean in English?
Remarkable.
Oh yeah, this is the book I was talking to somebody about. Where is he? We've got Isaac here somewhere. Here is Isaac. Actually, this is a pretty nice book, actually. I had a very funny experience, I was telling you about the mystery of life. So basically it ended up, for some reason, that nearly all the teachers that I interviewed for this book were connected to Papaji. So naturally, well, I don't know if it's natural, but anyway, I decided to make a homage page for Papaji. So there's some very beautiful pictures here of him. Yeah? And then one of the people that really touched me a lot, who I couldn't interview unfortunately because he was in the process of dying, was Ram Dass. This American teacher. And I really felt that by the end of his life he'd come to an amazing personal, I don't know the right word, But anyway, and then of course his teacher was Neem Karoli Baba, who nobody knows, probably nobody here knows actually. I don't know if you know about him. But anyway, he's like a super master, incredible master you can say. And so then of course I said, okay, here he is. He used to walk around in a blanket. He always used to wear a blanket. He was a very, very strange guy, Very, very strange guy. But I mean, his teaching was throwing an orange at you. Something like that, Anyway, so we did a homage page to him because actually he was a really amazing, he's an amazing master. And then I thought the book was finished, And then suddenly, in this book, there's one teacher who was very connected to Osho. And then I remembered that I was also quite connected to Osho, very connected actually. And then I suddenly got a message from I don't know where, but I was never thinking to put Osho in this book. And suddenly I'm doing a homage to Osho also in this book. And I love that, that it just happens by itself. Anyway, but I'll sign your book for sure. Yeah. Anyway.
Ich glaube, ich würde mir auch leichter tun, so von der Seele zu reden, wenn du für mich übersetzt. Ja, ich bin hier, weil ich das Buch hat mich gefunden. Ich war auf der Suche nach einem Buch und das Buch hat mich gefunden und es hat mich gefesselt. Und dann saß ich wieder eines Morgens auf meinem Meditationskissen und dann wurde mir bewusst, dass die schönste Zeit meines ganzen Tages eigentlich immer diese Stunde Meditation ist in der Früh. Das ist mir die wertvollste Zeit. Und
hey, maybe stop.
So I'm here because this book found me, and I read the book, and I was very much, very much took me, and I realized that the best time actually for my day is always the hour in the morning when I meditate.
Right. Yeah, so just imagine that you could expand that 24 hours a day.
ja,
Du kannst das ausweiten auf 24 Stunden am Tag.
das ist mein Ziel.
This is my aim.
And can everybody see this woman's face? I mean, I don't know her, so I don't even know her name, but if you look at her
Susan.
face, you can see on her face what she's telling, yeah? Can you see this? That the things that she's telling is there on her face.
Okay.
Sachen, die du erzählst,
Yeah, you're a very
Gesicht-
amazingly open person. You have a beautiful smile, and when you speak, I don't know where it comes from, but it's not coming from in here.
No.
And all that is absolutely obvious on her face. So this is the possibility for everybody to be like this. Everybody can be like that. I mean, not exactly, of course. We're all a bit different, you know. I have a beard even, look. So you I don't know anything about you, but you clearly have an enormous potential if you want to go that way for what you just said. You can create your whole life like that, not 1 hour in the morning.
Also du hast auf jeden Fall das Potenzial, dein ganzes Leben so zu haben, nicht nur eine Stunde am Morgen.
You see, that's a beautiful beginning. It's a beginning, you know.
Das ist ein
And
wunderschöner
you see,
Anfang.
this book. I mean, the thing that's lovely about this book is that 10 teachers' life stories, basically, where they share all the kind of discoveries they made in their life, kind of something like that. Yeah.
Also in dem Buch sind die Lebensgeschichten von 10 Lehrern und die teilen eben ihre Entdeckungen des Lebens, das sie gemacht haben.
And so naturally, when you read something like that, if you're open and being touched by it, it inspires you to do your own life, in a new way.
Und wenn du das liest und davon inspiriert bist, dann inspiriert dich das natürlich auch, dein eigenes Leben auf eine andere Art und Weise zu leben.
Genau, und ich suche den Schlüssel danach. Deswegen habe ich nach einer Meditation am Handy gegoogelt und habe gedacht, okay, John David, was macht der? Wo ist er? Ich muss dorthin. Ja, es war so ein Impuls. Ich habe mich online am Handy angemeldet und vor 2 Wochen wieder storniert.
So after a meditation, I looked on my mobile phone. So she was looking for the key, to expand this hour into her life.
Right.
So then she was looking on the mobile phone, asked John David, "What is this guy doing?"
Right.
And then she discovered this weekend, and then she registered it. But 2 weeks ago, she cancelled.
Ja, und nach dieser Stornierung hat es mich nicht in Ruhe gelassen. Der Kopf hat storniert und das Herz war sehr traurig darüber.
But after the cancellation, I couldn't get peace because the head cancelled and the heart was very sad about it.
Right.
Und deswegen bin ich hier und ich suche nach dem Schlüssel, dass diese Stunde, diese wertvolle Stunde in mein ganzes Leben, in meinen ganzen Tag zu integrieren und viel mehr vom Herzen heraus zu leben als vom Geist. Und der Geist ist sehr stark bei mir.
Yeah, so I try to find a way to expand this hour into my whole life and live more from my heart and not from my mind, because my mind is very strong.
Yeah, everybody's life mind is like that. But you just have to stop sometimes and look inside and connect to whatever the message is inside, and you'll be led into a wonderful life. Because we have a kind of what we can call an intuition. We have a kind of mysterious part of us which guides us. It's a bit like our own navigation system, So you have some idea, I want to go in my life. I don't know where I want to go, but I want to go somewhere. And this navigation, this automatic bio-navigation, guides us.
Ja.
Also wir haben so ein Navigationssystem in uns, das uns führt. Und man muss nur einfach zwischendurch anhalten und sich mit diesem Navigationssystem verbinden und das führt uns dann.
And it does amazing things. When I was 30, I didn't know anything about spiritual stuff at all. I was completely mindy. I was mindy English guy. And I got myself to Japan. And there I had some little taste of maybe spiritual. But it didn't go any further than visiting some Zen temples. That was about the end of my spiritual life in Japan.
Also als ich 30 war, da war ich total im Verstand. Ich war völlig so ein englischer Mittelstandskerl. Und ich bin dann irgendwie nach Japan gekommen. Und in Japan, gut, da war ich dann so ein bisschen interessiert an Spiritualität. Das ging aber nicht weiter, als dass ich so ein paar Tempels da besucht habe.
Yeah. And actually I was in a lot of pain. I was just constantly in pain, basically.
Und ich war eigentlich die ganze Zeit hatte ich Schmerzen.
And I was kind of stuck. I didn't want to go back to England, and I didn't really know what to do, but I ended up spending 3 years in pain in Tokyo.
Und ich war irgendwie völlig festgefahren. Ich wollte nicht zurück nach England gehen, aber ich wusste auch nicht, was ich wirklich tun sollte. Und irgendwie war ich dann 3 Jahre quasi im konstanten Schmerz irgendwie in Tokio.
But in my own way, I had some kind of longing inside to change something, but I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know anything about spiritual stuff.
Und ich hatte eine starke Sehnsucht in mir, irgendwas zu verändern, aber ich wusste überhaupt nicht, wie ich das tun sollte und ich hatte überhaupt keine Vorstellung von irgendwelchen spirituellen Dingen.
And I had an appointment to meet, actually it was a German architect, to talk about Japanese architecture.
Und ich hatte einen Termin, einen deutschen Architekten zu treffen, um mit dem über japanische Architektur zu reden.
And when I met him, it turned out he was an Osho sannyasin, and his girlfriend, a Japanese woman, was also an Osho sannyasin.
Und als ich ihn traf, stellte sich raus, dass er ein Osho-Sannyasin war und seine Freundin auch.
We didn't talk anything about architecture.
Wir haben überhaupt nicht über Architektur gesprochen.
We talked about meditation and all that kind of stuff.
Wir haben über Meditation und solche Dinge gesprochen.
And when the sun came up in the morning and we went to bed,
Und als die Sonne aufging am Morgen, sind wir ins Bett
so it
gegangen.
was an amazing kind of energetic moment in my life, I could say.
Es war ein unglaublich energetischer Augenblick in meinem Leben.
And the next afternoon when I was leaving, I remember him saying to me, you know, you're ready for this, meaning going to meet Osho.
Und am Nachmittag, als ich dann ging, erinnere ich mich, dass er zu mir sagte, du bist bereit für Osho.
And I had this stupid English mind which said, no, I'm not interested.
Und mein dummer englischer Verstand hat mir gesagt, bin ich überhaupt nicht, also es interessiert mich gar nicht.
1 year later, my plane from England back to Tokyo with my girlfriend ended up in India, and of course I ended up in Osho's ashram.
Und ein Jahr später, mein Flugzeug, als ich mit meiner Freundin unterwegs war, von England nach Tokio, hat aus Versehen dann in Indien angehalten und irgendwie bin ich dann tatsächlich in Osho's Ashram.
And that was the beginning of the end of John David.
Das war der Anfang vom Ende von John David.
This is what came out of it, you know.
Das ist jetzt was daraus kommt.
And it's just wonderful, you know, it's just wonderful.
Das ist einfach wunderbar.
Yeah. So I'm very happy to meet you. Yeah.
Ja, es ist schön, dir zu begegnen.
Danke, kann ich nur wiedergeben. Ich habe noch eine Frage. Ich habe oft ein Gefühl von Leere in mir und eine sehr starke Sehnsucht, nach Hause zu kommen. Ich komme manchmal in der Meditation nach Hause, aber nur selten. Deswegen bin ich auch hier, um das zu festigen, um dieses Gefühl, zu Hause zu sein, zu festigen und diese Glückseligkeit zu fühlen. Aber ich habe ganz oft eine Leere in meinem Leben, obwohl ich ein erfülltes, also äußerlich gesehen, erfülltes Leben habe.
I very often feel an emptiness in my life. An emptiness like a not so nice emptiness, like a hole. And even I have a very, I have a very full life on the outside. Yeah, this hole is there, and I'm here also because I would like to feel this. In meditation, I sometimes feel this bliss, and I'm here to.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I'm here to expand this. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about this emptiness, I mean, emptiness can seem kind of boring. You know, the rest of my life is very exciting, and then I just feel this emptiness and nothing's happening. And it could be, I mean, it's hard to judge it, but it could be this emptiness is not so bad actually. Could even be very, very good.
Vielleicht ist ja diese Leere gar nicht so schlecht.
You know, because we tend to feel good when we eat some wonderful food or meet some wonderful person or do some wonderful thing.
Weil bei uns ist es so, dass wir fühlen uns gut, wenn wir irgendwie was Leckeres essen oder jemandem begegnen oder irgendwas Tolles machen.
we forget about ourselves.
Wir vergessen uns aber vollkommen.
Right here is amazing. It's like an incredible miracle right here.
Aber hier ist das unglaublich. Es ist wie ein unglaubliches Wunder da.
And we're so busy feeling good here and feeling good there that we don't have any time to feel good here.
Und wir sind so damit beschäftigt, hier und dort uns gut zu fühlen, dass wir gar keine Zeit haben, uns bei uns gut zu fühlen.
So you could do an experiment this week when you have these moments where you feel kind of what you're calling not a nice emptiness.
Du kannst mal ein Experiment machen, wenn du diese Augenblicke hast, wo du diese Leere fühlst, die du nicht so schön findest.
Just close your eyes and get in touch with this emptiness and see what happens.
Einfach deine Augen zu schließen und in Kontakt zu kommen mit dieser Leere und einfach mal zu schauen, was geschieht.
And actually this is a good advice for this whole weekend now.
Das ist ein guter Rat für dieses ganze Wochenende.
Because this kind of what you could call a boring emptiness,
Weil das, was du als langweilige Leere,
if you just stay with it,
wenn du damit einfach bleibst,
could become deeper and deeper,
kann das
and you suddenly discover that it's not really so boring after all.
kann sich das vertiefen und dann entdeckst du, dass das vielleicht überhaupt gar nicht langweilig ist.
And you may find some kind of expansion happening inside you.
Vielleicht erlebst du dann, dass sich innen etwas ausweitet.
You may find that the you is disappearing.
Vielleicht hast du das Gefühl, dass das Du, das Ich verschwindet.
And if you carry on in that, allowing that empty space, you may find you do in fact come to bliss, come to love, come to peace.
Und wenn du dann diese Leere weiterhin erlaubst, dann hast du vielleicht sogar das Gefühl, dass du in Glückseligkeit kommst, in Frieden kommst.
And then you notice you're not even eating your lunch because you don't even need to eat.
Vielleicht hast du dann noch nicht mal Lust, dein Mittagessen zu essen.
It feels so good inside,
Yeah.
and maybe something very new good inside that you don't even want to stop and eat lunch.
Es ist vielleicht sowas Gutes in dir, dass du noch nicht mal anhalten willst damit, um dein Essen zu essen.
You see, and in a way, this weekend is also a kind of opportunity to meet something very deep inside you, which you may or may not be allowing in your life. You know, it may come in your life sometimes, but you maybe sort of say, go away, or I'm not interested in that, or what was that? That was a bit strange, or something. But this weekend, you could kind of embrace that, embrace those kind of things that seem unfamiliar, or a bit strange, or empty, or I don't know the right words, but unfamiliar stuff. Embrace it, because it will lead you to something very, very beautiful.
Dieses Wochenende ist auch dafür da, dass du irgendwelche unbekannten Teile in dir, die dir vielleicht etwas unbekannt vorkommen und wo du ein bisschen Angst vor hast, dass du die umarmst, dass du die einlädst und einfach schaust, wo die dich hinführen.
Okay, very nice.
Danke. Thank you very much.
You
I'm
won't
very
be-
happy to be here.
You won't be
Please.
reading the book, so I'll give you your pen, because I've got a pen actually, and we'll fill it up by Sunday. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And then I'll keep it for you until Sunday.
Okay.
I'll check
Thank you.
I'll check you out at the weekend, then I write a bit more in there. Okay, good. Okay, so I think we'll stop now. Thank you very much.